They were looking at me through the window, and then I wasn't sure. Well, oh, God. You know, anything.
Robert? Robert, is that you? Oh, goodness, you scared me half to death.
Sorry. Sorry. I've been down at the cliffs. Sorry. I didn't mean. I've just been down there digging.
Robbie, it's so late.
Well, no, it's not late, not really. A time's different here. Sun rises when it wants to, it sets when it wants. Wrong side entirely sometimes. Have you ever noticed that?
Hold on, Robbie, hold on. Let me just find my glasses a moment.
Been out of the church recently? I have. Though those molehills of yours are getting far bigger than usual. You should have seen the size of one by the edge of the...
What are you talking about, Robert?
It was 10 foot deep. Remarkable what people won't see. Honestly, it's remarkable, especially when you show them. It won't pass the wall, though. No, it won't go through. Don't worry. Baby Jesus wouldn't have that, would he? Wee baby Jesus. James, I suppose you know I'm being followed.
No.
No, you're not going to tell them where I am, are you?
No, of course not.
Yes, of course not.
Robbie, I wouldn't. You should know that I wouldn't. I would never do something like that. But who is it that you think's following you?
Who? It is them, all of them from Odchester, and the others. All they want is my name on a cup, my name on a board, and dead, golden letters, illuminated manuscript, Robbie Thompson, 1900 memento mori.
Robert, no one's after you. Listen, if you want to stay here, instead of out on the coast with those wretched crows, you're more than welcome. I really don't trust them at all.
No, their son's gone. They need the company. They need...
Robert, I need the company.
Their little Billy's gone. Evaporated. Poof.
Hardly little, and... Well, if they came to a service once in a while, then maybe they'd... No, I'm sorry. That's just bad of me. I'm tired. I'm just tired.
Well, nothing's bad, but yes, let's talk about it. If he could come back, or if they've replaced him, Billy, I mean.
Robert, you're scaring me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Take what you found, these fossils of yours, to York, to the museum, or even back to Cambridge, to Odchester if you must. Either way, it'll lighten your load.
Yes. Hen would know. Or Biarmia. Pip, they'd get a sense of it, a good sense. I'll write to them.
Yes, maybe you should.
Yes.
I'd very much like to meet them. Your friends?
Yes. Yes, they'd know. They'd know.
Yes. Well, let's do that. We'll do that. Your discovery will be recognised. It will. We'll make sure of it. Just please don't worry yourself. How about in the meantime, let's just focus on something simple, yes?
Yes.
Right. So, well, how would you like to hear about my day? Some boring parochial matters? How does that sound? You'll be asleep before you know it. That sinkhole by the wall, eh? How on earth should I go about fixing
Oh, yes,
that up?
yes, quite right, yes. There's the link. That's the link.
What do you mean?
Well, there's scarecrows because the wheat grows, yes? The wheat needs protecting, but which came first? The old adage. How did the wheat grow without the scarecrows to frighten birds? And then how did the scarecrows come to be without the crows themselves?
Robert,
You want to know why your mole hills are getting bigger?
Well, yes, of course. But
It's the same principle entirely. What you reap is what you sow. Isn't that what you said? About the folks around these parts?
I don't remember saying that.
What, you said that. You and your god, no one buries around here. No one. You told me. When was the last burial?
Well, I don't know. There were old traditions.
So when was it? You and your... It's all cremation, all burning, no trust in the earth. And why? Folks scatter the ashes all over every day, out on the moors. You reap what you sow.
I don't understand.
Yeah, you do. You must do. It's simple enough. If all you sow is death, what do you expect to grow? Something comes of it.
Robert, this is blasphemous.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, James. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Don't worry. Please, just try to calm down. You can stay here tonight. Let me put the kettle on.
Thank you. I don't know what I'm saying. I'll just curl up here for a moment.
Yeah, of course.
You're very kind to me, James. But could you leave the light on just for a while?
Yes, of course. I'll just go up now and fetch you a blanket.
Thank you. It keeps the owls from screeching. Yes, that would be best. Keep them away. I'll never sleep. Never sleep with them out there.
The Apocalypse Players present A Residence at the Bay, a Call of Cthulhu 7th edition scenario written by Danann McAleer in the style of M.R. James. With Joseph Chance as Dr. Henry Carrick-Muir, Dan Wheeler as Reverend Peregrine McCutcheon, Dominic Allen as Lady Helen Marjorie Barmere Potts, and Danann McAleer as the Keeper of Arcane Lore. Part 6. Batten Down the Hatches.
Reverend Blackwell. Reverend Blackwell.
Yes. And he sort of stumbles to his feet and says, I'm sorry, yes.
No, I'm sorry to disturb you at your prayers, but the weather has taken a nasty turn. The fog's coming from both sides. Is that common round here?
Oh, yes, that'll happen. You're leaving then?
Well, I'm not sure whether it would be safe in this fog, unless you... How would you advise us?
Well, I wouldn't advise you anything. It's only fog, after all. And he sort of laughs and says, we're fine where we are. Let me know if you see Robert. He sort of drifts off into a slight reverie.
That's very much like what happens in a computer game when you've asked the NPC all the questions that they have to answer. They just sort of go a little bit.
It is, and I think I turn to the Reverend.
Would you like a health potion?
I think.
Would you like a health potion?
Would you like to ask me about Robert's journal? Have you read that journal yet?
I turn to our Reverend. You are a Reverend,
Yes.
aren't you? You are a Reverend.
Yes.
I'm getting confused now because of Reverend Blackwell.
Utterly reverend.
James Blackwell and Peregrine McCutcheon. And I say, Peregrine,
Yeah.
I know you said that you would say a prayer, and I actually, because he's kneeling down, I actually do this. I sort of make the gesture of a fast one. I go, perhaps you'd like to say something for the Reverend, to know that everything will be well in the eyes of God and his Son, who is, of course, the figure of forgiveness, I say, looking at Pajamir. One of those fine, eloquent prayers I know that you can do so beautifully.
Well, I would just say something in private with the Reverend here. And I go over and...
Oh, no, include us. I'd like very much to hear it. I think it should be for the congregation, shouldn't it?
Well... do we have time?
No, we never have time. When I pimp you out like this, it's never time, but...
Right. I'm very much out of my depth here. I haven't been inside a church for about 20 years. And even then it was probably for a wedding that I didn't want to be at. I'm basically Jewish.
It's not the start I was expecting, Pip, but I'm all ears.
Holy Father, hear our prayer. We call to you now in an hour of need. We call for your succour and your help for our friend Robert, who's lost somewhere. We hope to find him. I call for your forgiveness for one of your flock, Reverend James Blackwell here, a good man who has strayed from the path. I call for your wisdom and guidance for my good friend Lady Marjorie, to find forgiveness for all of us, for her exacting standards are not always met. And I call for your help for my dear friend Henry, who struggles with demons and tries in his own way to exorcise them, but will find that so much easier with your guidance. Heavenly Father, hear our prayer.
And we call for discipline to 9-year-olds.
Amen.
And you see that if you look around, Reverend Blackwell isn't there anymore.
Oh, what the fuck?
Well, that's just fucking rude.
That is seriously rude. Can I do a spot hidden just while I'm here? Either to see whether he's hiding behind a pew, or also, I mean, this is a bit of a cheeky one, also to see whether there's any weird carvings inside the church that mirror the owls on the...
I was going to say, let's have a look around.
Yeah, exactly. I want to have a look around. Under the auspices of looking for Blackwell. That's a regular success on my spot hidden.
You don't see any sign of Blackwell, but you do see carved into the pews, you see animals, figures in the higher pews up towards the altar. Just reminded of that Jamesian thing. What was the poem? When I grew in the wood, I was watered with blood. Now in the church I stand, who that touches me with his hand, if a bloody hand he bear, I counsel him to beware, lest he be fetched away, whether by night or day, but chiefly when the wind blows high, in a night of February. That's, turns out they've built the pews out of gallows wood. Anyway, that's not this. That's just
a little echo.
But yeah, you notice like voles and cats and rats and all sorts of stuff on the end of the pews. And sure enough, There are a couple of owls on the closest bit to the altar.
What's the year again?
1900.
Time you got to watch.
Are they not figures of desolation? Is it not a figure of desolation and loss of hope?
Well, I was just wondering whether it's just arts and crafts movement.
Well,
Right, could be.
they're grotesques. They look like grotesques. Especially the carved ones on the outside of the church. Obviously, the wooden ones on the armrests of the pews, they're more recent, unless they've been...
Is it not in Isaiah that they talk about the vermin of the earth and the owls not amongst them?
I believe so.
Seems a bit harsh to me.
Well,
But then their cry is harsh. And that boy definitely imitated it. Even I heard that.
yes.
I tell you what, I'm sad about this fog because I wanted to see those fossils as soon as we could. I wonder what state they've left the camp in. And maybe they paid a person to watch it. Maybe that's some connection to the house, to the crows. I'm just thinking. Do you think... Well, I was about to... No, that might be cold of me. I'm sorry, my friends. I have a tendency to be cold at times. Do you think the Reverend's all right? I mean, Blackwell.
Well, we should certainly go after him. It was a strange way for him to have left.
I agree.
Should we make our way back to the house? Perhaps he felt uneasy.
Well, if you're leaving the church, you see the boy again. Seems to be back in the graveyard, pulling apart worms and chucking them over the wall.
You there, boy. Did you see him? Did you see the Reverend come out?
The Reverend? Aye. He laughs. He moves over behind a grave.
Why is that funny?
Oh, well, he'll be there a while now.
Forgive me, we've not fully met, have we? I know that I spoke to you on the way down, but I'm Henry. What's your name?
He looks you up and down and says, I'm Henry. He laughs.
Why are you pulling these worms apart?
Well, it won't bother them, will it?
You mean because they can cope with it?
Oh, aye. Cut a worm in half. It'll grow back 10 times.
What?
10 times? That's definitely not true, I'm afraid. I'm a man of nature. I study all sorts of creatures, great and small, and I can tell you that if you cut a worm in half, it will not grow back 10 times.
Well, you don't know about these worms.
You
You don't know about this place.
mean they come back to life?
Huh?
Is that what you're saying? They come back to life. Each half has a new life.
Aye. You cut a worm in half, it comes back thrice. Comes back 10 times. Comes back many times as you like.
Well, make your mind up. Does it come back What do you mean as many times as you like?
I don't know. I'm just 9. And he runs off behind a gravestone.
Can we...
Listen to me, you little shit.
It is such a shit.
Even if those worms do come back to life, that is no excuse for throwing them at the window pane of your minister. That is property, all right? You should respect property.
Did you see the Reverend? Where did he go? Why did you laugh?
Oh, he's just upset. He'll be out there for a while now.
He'll be where for a while? What are you saying?
Out there.
Out where?
I'd get back if I were you.
What are you talking about? Where is he?
Where is he? Where is he?
I hate this guy. Any other character that I have played over the past 2 years, I would take out a gun and shoot this boy. You are very, very lucky that you've met me playing a Reverend.
You're very unlucky that you've met me. I go over and I slap him very hard.
Do you?
No, don't go too far into the fog. We can't see him.
Come here, boys, I can slap you very hard.
Jamia, come back.
Do you do that? If you want to do that, he stays in his place. You can backhand him if you want.
Yeah, I think I will. I've had enough.
So you walk over to him and you backhand him across the chops. The others of you, you realise, however annoying he was being, he was just being a child.
Oh, now you tell us. Now you tell us he's only 9.
Oh, come on, we don't care. We're Victorians.
Yeah,
We hit kids all the fucking time. He should be grateful he's outside getting a slap instead of down a mine breaking his hands.
For the modern listener,
I think in defence of humanity, I would point out that is categorically not true. One can live outside. Within one's personal ethics, one can live outside of the powers that are imposed upon you by society. However, it is unlikely that any of us would stop you.
No, exactly.
And
Children should be seen and not heard, and certainly not heard at this moment.
I walk towards Lady Helen Marjorie Pajama Potts, and I say, no, Lady Marjorie, the boy's not to blame. He says it's this place. I'm most interested. Here, boy, there's a penny in this for you, if you can tell me straight. Have you been down to the bay and seen the fossils that our friend Robert was looking at? Since you claim you knew...
You see that his face has gone pale, and the slap has taken everything out of him, and he just stands there looking at you. And then he says, I can tell you, if you like. And he sort of makes you lean in, so it's only you who'll be listening. And he says, you can ask them. You can ask them. Everybody asks me. You should ask them. And he sort of just wanders off very slowly through the gravestones. And you look around and you realise that the fog is now getting to a point where you can only see about 10 yards in front of you.
Can we see the vicarage?
Yeah, you can still see the vicarage, just about. The kids wandered off in the opposite direction.
But the implication is Blackwell's gone off in his grief.
Well, you don't know where Blackwell's gone. He may have gone back into the vicarage, or...
I mean, he implied wandered off, right?
I interpreted that he'd wandered off.
In his grief, onto the moors.
The Reverend said we didn't need to worry about the fog. I'm seriously fucking worried about the fog. Like, how on earth are we supposed to get anywhere?
Also, maybe you have some insights as to why you'd be more worried about the fog than the rest of us.
Well,
I throw that open to you.
So suddenly you're there in the churchyard, Reverend missing, a child sort of shamed and discarded, and the fog rolling in. And you can still just kind of see the route you would have taken, the track back towards the guest house. But you can hardly see anything now.
It's just another Friday night whippy.
Indeed.
excuse me, Henry. It seems that these conditions are not ideal for clambering down a cliff side to look at some fossils. Am I right?
No, it's not the right time to do that. I totally agree with you.
The other thing I was thinking was I would be quite keen to find alternative lodgings, but we're far too late for that as well.
What about staying here at the vicarage?
Well, we could ask, but it didn't look like a very big place. But if you didn't mind us bunking down, I'd feel a little safer here, I suppose.
I certainly have no interest to stay with those crows again.
Shall we make our way to the vicarage?
A lot of your luggage, including any firearms, is still back at the Bogglehole guest house.
Of course, yeah.
Is it fair to say that I have my smaller paleontologist bag with me?
Yeah, I'd say that, yeah.
Seeing as we had talked about the idea of possibly going down to the bay, it would only be a small bag. It wouldn't give me much. I wouldn't have anything really for an excavation. I could do site observations, but I couldn't safely remove anything.
Should we make our way back to the vicarage? I mean,
Well, it's only over yonder, definitely. Let's regroup there.
You're a few yards off, yeah. And as you approach the vicarage, nothing seems changed, but as you try the door, it's locked.
I knock on it with my walking stick.
There's no response.
For the love of Christ.
And as you knock on it, you suddenly hear a shrill shriek through the fog. And if Peregrine McCutcheon could do me a zoology roll or a natural world roll.
natural world, because I'm not a zoologist really, I'm a botanist, but if we're talking owls, I'm almost certain I could identify it.
Hopefully it's an owl that's just eaten a 9-year-old boy.
I passed my natural world roll.
It's a boreal owl, which is odd because they're not native. But you're pretty sure it's a boreal. And you just hear this shrill shriek ring out and then drop dead. But anyway, you're all huddled together by a locked door to the vicarage in a churchyard. And there's no sign of the boy, no sign of the vicar, and the fog keeps getting thicker and thicker.
What time is it roughly?
Well, do any of you have a watch?
Oh, most certainly I have
A couple of you do, right?
I do, but I think I've already moved a few yards away from Lady Marjorie, and I'm looking at windows. Even as she's knocking, I'm thinking. As soon as I saw that door didn't open, I'm thinking I'm moving around.
It's 5 to 4.
Christ, so it's not much by way of light left. When we did wake up at 1.
You've got maybe an hour and a half?
At most.
I'll go round. I don't remember whether there was a back door, but I'll go round and look. I'll make my way around the house looking for a back door or a side door.
Well, I'm already moving, so I'll go one way, you go the other.
Yeah, exactly.
In a grump, I turn around with my back to the door and stare into the fog. My arms folded.
Do you want to do spot hidden?
Yes.
Intimidate fog, check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bonus, surely.
The fog rolls back.
You're fine.
No mythos. Just hard as nails.
I've failed my spot hidden, but I'm going to push it.
Okay,
Really?
great.
Yeah.
How are you pushing?
I'm going to push it by walking, sort of pacing with my walking stick a bit further out into the fog, and I'm going to squint and have another look, see that if I can see either that stupid boy or the hill he was pointing at.
Yeah.
Hey, that's more like it. That's a hard success.
So you move across to the wall of the churchyard, not the side of the sinkhole, the side you came in through. And you sort of you strain your eyes for a moment, and you do see a sort of a figure. It looks like he's in profile. Looks like the figure's in profile. But then with a gust of the wind, it turns and somehow becomes slimmer. And it's thin, or almost too thin, as thin as a mast or a prop would be. And you see one sort of pale, swirling eye gleaming at you from the side of its head, where its head should be. But as the late sunlight moves off through the fog and the figure turns in the wind again, you realise there was no eye. It was just the fog shining through an incomplete face. Just a trick of the light. But whatever it is, it's swinging sort of to and fro. And you feel like it's watching you.
What are you? I say.
It's about 100 yards away, so...
I shout. What are you? With my singer's lungs.
I freeze hearing that.
Me too.
I was hoping to meet McCutcheon.
You all hear this sort of, "What are you?" And then as you're watching, the head sort of swings around, the whole body swings round, and this sort of crucifix shape. And then it steps down and flattens itself to the ground and disappears from your sight.
Oh, that feels like it's a sanity roll.
I'd say, yeah, that's fair.
It feels like it ought to be.
At the shout, I think it's fair to say that Carragmuir would start to run in his winter tweeds. He's got his. He was thinking about smashing the pane of the glass in front of him, but he turns and starts to run along the side of the house, and he says, "Peregrine, Peregrine," and he's running in a manner that can only really be epitomised by Jeremy Brett, I would have thought, in the ITV Sherlock Holmes adaptations. It's sort of running in fog, close shot. He's desperate, he's sweaty, and he's already anxious, he's strung out, and he's just about to turn left where he thinks the corner of the house is when he realises he's sort of slightly overshot, and there's fog everywhere. He sort of scrabbles back and then gets to the wall, and it's taking him possibly 5 times as long to get back to the point where he left.
And Peregrine is similarly making his way back to the front of the house, sort of subconsciously going at the speed that he thinks he might not be the first person to get there, if that makes sense. He's going as fast as he can, whilst also making sure that he's not going as fast as Henry.
Otherwise known as an experienced investigator. Oh, very good. Yes.
I can tell you now, I failed my sanity roll.
Okay, you lose 1 sanity. That's fine. But you become far less sure about this area than you have been. You become far less sure about this child that you've just been talking to than you were before. All of it seems to be connected somehow, but you're not sure how.
Thank God. So
you can still see the sort of the start of the route back to your guest house.
Was it did we walk along a path, or was it cross country?
Yeah, it was sort of it was cross country, but it was like a goat path, you know. Like there's sort of enough footfall for it to be pressed down.
It was clearly marked. It wasn't just like walking across the...
Yeah, it wasn't like it's a rambler's way, but it was like a goat path. There was enough footfall for it to be pretty clear.
First of all, I say, we've both arrived back at this, we're all in the same place now, are we?
Let's say so.
Lady Marjorie, what's wrong? Who is it?
I saw something awfully strange.
You look pale. Here, have some of this. I
Accidentally hands her the heroin.
Oh, there's none left in the thing. There's none left in the bottle for you.
I try and put it back, but it's clearly too late. Fucking hell, you drank more of that than I did.
Alpha first.
Constitution checks, single malt.
A trick of the light, perhaps, Lady Marjorie, or maybe the child playing tricks on you.
No, I know what I saw. It was a figure, like a man with an eye. I saw its eye. It was looking at me. It looked at me. It recognised me, like a glint in the fog, and then it turned, and it was completely flat, and then it fell upon the ground and disappeared.
Well,
It was like a scarecrow.
Yes, well, we've seen a few things that look a bit like scarecrows, haven't we? I wonder, as much as I don't like the idea of walking abroad in this fog, if we can't get into the vicarage, we can at least see the path, and maybe we should, in fact, make our way back to the Boggle Hole guest house.
I think not. I think it is only safe inside the walls of the church consecrated ground.
Yes, perhaps you're right.
I believe that thing that came at me was only prevented by me being inside the perimeter of the church grounds. Call me superstitious, call me whatever. Call me mad, if you must. But I'm not walking back to the Boggle Hole guest house. Not until this fog has cleared, at least.
All right. Fine. Well, I'm not sure it will clear before night. That's my only concern. So, if we're not leaving here,
We'd have to bunk in the church.
now, yes. If we can't get into the vicarage, we might have to. We could go back to the church and see if we can find some blankets in the vestry or something. And
We've been abandoned. We could easily claim that we can crack one of these panes and get into this vicarage. Maybe there's other things that he's hidden here.
I do have to say, our vicar friend is a piece of work as well. He mopes and sulks after telling us that our friend is the one in peril, that he's done nothing about and possibly has aggravated the situation. Then he's the one who gets upset about it while we tiptoe around trying to make him feel better, and then he has the cheek, while you're leading a very nice prayer for him, that he buggers off and locks the fucking door on us. If I get back in that vicarage, I'll give him a slap across his chops.
well, he might be in.
As you say that, half an earthworm hits you in the face.
Right, you little shit! Get back here! This time it's going to be fucking lethal!
And you hear a giggling going away through the gravestones. Do you follow?
No, I stand there and demand he present himself.
Lady Marjorie, I don't think now's the time.
Listen, that boy may be able to lead us back down to town, to safety. Presumably he'll be going back down there himself this evening.
I wouldn't trust him to walk us across this cemetery.
He's wild. We can't trust him. I see your point, Pip, but I don't know how we can persuade him. He's beyond the normal ken of man. I say we break one of these windows and get in there.
Well, what if Reverend Blackwell is inside?
Then we can have a word with him and say, what the hell do you think you're doing?
We all think that he's off, not inside, but on the heath.
As you're saying this, you hear a little giggle over towards the church wall on the side where the sinkhole is. Do you all want to give me a spot hidden?
An extreme success.
Hard success for me.
I look at the vicarage wall and think I'm seeing something interesting.
So there's a sudden gap in the fog as the wind blows it aside for just a moment, and you see the edge of the woods nearby. You see the trees, the oaks and the pines, and you see a couple of what look like maybe either birch trees or dead trees with their bark stripped off, maybe, but knobbled sort of old trees, long dead, perhaps. They just stand out to you suddenly, just a couple of them, as the mist is pulled aside. And just the sight of these thin white trunks among the trees. And for Peregrine, you see the same thing, but just as the fog rolls back in and covers the area again, you see these two trees seem to move. One almost seems to lift a few feet into the fog, and then the other seems to cross it, somehow swing across over the other, like intelligent movement. And then the fog covers all again. Just a trick of the light, I'm sure.
Am I sure it's a trick of the light, or am I...
Well, I don't know. You could do me a sanity roll?
Yeah, I think I probably ought to find out whether I think it's a trick of the light or not. I think it's a trick of the light. It's a trick of the light.
It's fine. You convince yourself it's fine. There's nothing giant stalking you out in this foggy wasteland. But you are alone in this churchyard.
Well, I don't share what I've seen, but I do say, well, Lady Bajarmir, if you don't feel comfortable being led by this boy or walking back along the track to the Bogglehole guest house, then I'll do as you wish, and we'll stay here. We'll find a way to stay within the consecrated walls for tonight.
I think it's for the best.
Whether it's the church or the vicarage, well, I'm not sure. Each has their benefits. I wonder whether, seeing as the Reverend didn't want to contact the police for a missing person, he seemed very unlikely that he'd contact the police because we broke a window and bunked down in his front room for the evening. So maybe we should.
I swing my cudgel and smash a window.
Decision made.
No, it's not a cudgel. It's a walking stick.
Yeah.
But it's one designed not for a man who needs a walking stick. It's a proper. It's a stout walking cane.
I'm sure I can reimburse him for a window pane.
As you smash the window, you hear a laugh, a sort of high-pitched laugh out in the graveyard. Seems high-pitched enough to be the child you've been talking to up until this point.
But not necessarily. See, he's definitely not saying that it is the child, is he?
Do we need to deal with that boy?
Well, I wonder whether we should...
No, we need to find our redoubt, and this is our redoubt. Let's get inside. I'll try and open the door.
All right.
Although, actually, Pip, at a glance, I might think you might be smaller and more agile than me.
Well, I'm not particularly small, and I'm very, very undexterous.
What am I thinking? Of course you won't be climbing through that. Even with my broad shoulders, I'll give it a better go.
I think it would be a bad mistake for me to attempt it.
And I crudely lift and try and scrape out some glass and lift any sashes that I can, and then I will crawl in through the window.
So it looks very much like it did from outside, and as you were a few moments ago, you know, your teas are still there.
Blackwell!
Half drunk.
Blackwell, you in here? I'm coming in.
There's no answer.
Make my way through to the front door.
It opens, but there is a key in the lock.
So locked from the inside.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Now he's hanged himself.
God.
Here you are.
Yeah.
I'm going upstairs.
I'll try to find some way to secure the window. So if we go inside
No, good thinking.
and lock the door, I'd like to go straight to the window and have a look around and see if there's something that I could put over the broken pane.
Yeah. Are you looking out the window?
I'm going to head upstairs.
Well, I suppose I am. I'm not actively looking out the window. Yes, I probably am. I probably am looking out the window. All right. Yeah, all right. Fine. Talk me into it. What do you want?
I mean, you're the most experienced of all of us. Damn. If he's not looking out of the window, he's not looking out of the window. That could get you into as much trouble as looking out the window.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm looking out the window.
Oh, God.
So you see a roiling mist of fog, as you'd expect. But as it sort of spills over the edges of these gravestones, you do see the small boy running between them, and a sort of a catch of laughter in his throat.
Is he running towards us or just in general between the stones?
In general, it seems to be sort of parallel.
Fine.
But just before the mist roils back over the window, you do see two shadowy figures. If you hadn't gotten a sense of the graveyard itself, you might assume they were the angelic sort of stones atop the mausoleums. But these two shadows in the fog seem to be looking over very close to the house on the other side of the wall. You can't really see what shape they're in, but they seem to be in a sort of Christ configuration.
Oh.
And
Fuck's sake.
and then they're swallowed up.
Wish I had my Lee Enfield right now. Shoot that boy.
I know, right?
Yeah, you did bring a gun, that is true.
I've still got my walking stick. I could do him some real damage next time I see him. I'll be sure to do that.
So I'm sort of looking around. You might want to go back up. You might want to go upstairs to where Joseph is. But in the meantime, I'm going to be looking around the room to see if I can find anything to put over the window, either in front of it or to stick over it or something, just to.
All there really are books.
Could you stack them?
Could stack them. Is there a bookshelf that could be a freestanding bookshelf?
Yeah, there are. There are a couple of freestanding bookshelves that you could potentially sort of shift up against a window.
Or like a desk that I could turn on its side or something?
Yeah, there's like a little writing desk. What would you want to be doing with it?
Well, as in like, so if the window's here and it's been broken, if I was to put the desk up on its end, would it kind of cover the pane?
Yeah, you could try and do that. The only thing is the windows, they're quite deep. They're like sort of 2.5 foot deep into the brick. You know, those sort of windows that sit in.
So the pane is on the outside and they're inset from the inside?
Yeah.
Okay, I've gotcha. I see. So like a really big sill, basically, and a really big...
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, right.
So you could try and sort of shift something in front of it, but I'm not sure if it would fully cover it, but, you know, give it a go.
Sorry, I'm asking a lot of questions.
No, it's good.
You go to Joseph. Go to Joseph and then you can come back to me.
Yeah. Meanwhile...
It was only because the key was locked on the inside, so now I'm scared for him. So even though I was totally convinced while we were outside that he was out on the heath, out on the hills, but now I'm thinking. So I'm running upstairs, fearing the worst.
Okay, so you get upstairs and there's what looks like a sort of a slight corridor and one door.
Blackwell?
There's no answer.
I'll go over and I'll knock on the door and then open it. With not much hesitation.
So there's no answer. And as you open the door, there's a bed made. There's a few vestments lying around, but essentially looks like an empty room.
This was the only room upstairs?
Yeah.
Are there any rooms downstairs that Peregrine and I have not currently gone in? How many rooms are downstairs again?
Only a sort of small toilet, bathroom thing towards the back.
Well,
It's a crofter's cottage kind of style thing.
I need to relieve myself anyway.
Yeah.
So I shall go and use the toilet.
He's not up here, I say, as I immediately go to bedside tables. I'm looking for fossils. I'm looking for anything that he's been cautious about. Any keepsakes.
You can't see anything. It looks like he may have been honest when he said that this was the only fossil that Robert left me.
And he took that one with him, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
I think I slam the drawer and I even say, "Damn it!" There's a window, presumably.
Yep.
I look out the window and I'm thinking, can I see above the fog from here?
If you're just glancing out the window, all you really see is fog. You see a couple of shadows that might be scarecrows. They're not too close to the house.
Or that I missed before?
Well, you've not looked from this angle before.
No, okay. Damn it. I'll start running back down again.
Barmia, you're still in the toilet, right?
Yep.
As I'm running down the stairs, I think, Ned Caster would never have been able to run down these stairs as fast as I. Fat lot of good it'll do.
Suddenly there's a bang on the kitchen window.
Oh.
It's bang! And you all turn and look, and there's a dark patch on the window. And as you stand there staring, there's another thud against the glass. And this sort of shadowy thing seems to be bashing at the window really violently.
What sort of thing?
It's really hard to tell from where you're stood, the side of the room you're on, but if you were edging closer, it just looks like a shadowy...
A 9-year-old boy with a bunch of earthworms bleeding all over the window pane?
It doesn't look like a 9-year-old boy, but you gonna have a closer look?
Did Pajama come out of the closet, if you pardon the expression?
I'm assuming Barmy is still in the WC.
Yeah, I'm sat down.
But she can hear all of this.
Oh yeah, I'd say so.
What in God's name was that?
Is that boy back? Throwing things at the windows?
Peregrine, what is it?
I don't know. I assume it's the boy. He's throwing something at the window, but...
That sounded too big for that.
Oh.
How close is this window in relation to the door?
The kitchen window's about 10 yards away from you, but it's closer to the door. And you can see from where you are this sort of dark reddish circle forming on the panes of glass. Looks like blood.
Is it the blood is where the hitting is happening?
It looks like that, yeah. There's a sort of shadowy shape just slamming towards the window.
Creating a bigger area of blood.
Yeah.
Blackwell, is that you?
Okay, I'm going to go closer.
I'm backing him up.
And as you get closer, you hear this, and the thudding seems to intensify slightly. And this shadowy figure's still pounding against the glass.
Yeah.
Trying to get in.
Well, it seems to be hitting the window with enough force to, injure itself. But from what you can see, there's no break in the glass yet or anything.
There's a broken window in the house already. If it wants to get in, there's another way in.
What a horrible thought. Yeah.
Exactly.
If anything wants to get in, it can.
Yeah.
Does he say that? Did he say that out loud?
I do now. I say, there's a broken window behind us. If it wanted to get in, it could.
I'd like to... Knowing that the key was in the door, and it was locked from the inside,
Yeah.
I want to have a look around and see if there's anywhere that someone might hide in this cottage, i.e. like a loose floorboard or You know, like a secret hiding place.
Yeah.
Because I've suddenly got this horrible feeling that the vicar knew this was about to happen and hid inside his own house. Almost mirroring the rhythmic knocking on the window, I start tapping on the walls and the floorboards with my walking stick.
Yeah.
Are you in here? Come out, come out.
Have you gone mad, woman?
Well, as you exit the toilet, you look back and you see there is a tiny window open above the toilet. And you do think maybe a person could fit through there.
So there's a small window open in the toilet?
Yeah. So
I'm going to go and stand on the toilet and look out.
you can't see much out of the little window except the fog. But it does look big enough that you could... well, you might not be able to, but a slim young man might be able to just about crawl out of it.
I say...
Oh, boy.
Gentlemen, do you think the vicar climbed out this window? Locked the door from the inside, then climbed out here?
I think there's someone trying to get in, and I think we should get the hell out of here. If you pardon the expression, Peregrine.
I close the toilet window.
It may well be the case, but I can't work out why he'd do that.
Well...
Maybe the boy came in.
Well, either, you know, he could have... if he's locked it from the inside, he's either hiding in the house because he knew something awful was about to happen, or he's locked the door on the inside, climbed out of the bathroom window as a sort of trap for us. So now we're...
Exactly.
And as you say the word trap, there's a sort of a banging on the back door, as aggressive as the window. And
Oh, there is a back door.
yeah, the door's just behind the bathroom.
Oh.
Yeah, and there's this sort of scraping, almost splintering of wood, and it sounds very much like something is trying to get into the house.
Is the back door locked?
Well, we haven't checked it, I suppose.
So, actually, he may have just come in and out of the back door and the front door might have been locked the whole time.
Well, yeah, it's possible. It's all within the church walls.
Whatever's banging at the back door, I say, who is it? Oh, I don't think it's good news.
I say we make a run for the church.
I sort of look at Henry and then I give a meaningful look towards Lady Marjorie and then back to Henry.
But why...
A run for it, you say, I say.
Why would we... Why would we be in any different situation? I mean, they're not here. They're not in the house. They'll be banging and scraping at the church doors as well, then.
Aye, but we could put a pew against that.
Yes. There's
Here, they've got the back window's open already. This window's broken over there. There's 2 doors. I don't like it.
We could go upstairs to the bedroom and shut the door.
So then we're trapped up on the high level with a stairway as a single entrance. Well, I can hold that, and then the 2 of you.
I don't see how it's any different to being in the church, to be honest.
All right, fine.
Just my observation. My move speed is 3, so we could run to the church if you want.
All right, let's see who these arseholes are, and I'll throw open the back door.
No, I didn't say open the door.
I'm gonna do it.
Right.
As he does that, I grab Marjorie by the arm and start dragging her towards the stairs.
So as you throw open the back doors, you see the mist, the fog retreating. And there's nothing there. Whatever had been banging on the back door must have... well, it's not there now. And you can see for about almost 100, then 200 yards, the fog moves off almost as quickly as it came in. And there you are, stood at the back of the vicarage.
It was probably the wind.
After initial shock and terror at that, I'll leap out and check either side of the door with my...
Well, do you want to do me a spot hidden?
With my stout walking cane in hand, using it now very much as a club, and then I see it. I see it very, very clearly.
Very clearly.
Aye. Like a 98 on 100.
Oh dear.
Clearly.
Well,
Oh dear.
you see... Yeah, you're sure you see, leading away from the back door, footprints in the dew.
Just tracks. I do have tracking.
Just little footprints.
Little? How little?
It doesn't look like the kids' footprints.
Does it look like little people?
I mean, you'd be more inclined to think that way than as if it was the kid.
Shit.
You know.
Of course.
Maybe this place was built on a ley line or something.
I mean, fractals, exactly. Fractal dinosaurs. Impossible fossils. Something's afoot. Literally. I am going to follow them. And I shout.
And you've just named 3 of my favourite bands.
Fractal dinosaurs.
They're all great. Fractal dinosaurs.
Fucking hell.
The little people. I think I shout as I'm chasing the tracks. I say, "It's the little people. It might be the little people. I'm going to follow these tracks."
Great. And you sprint off, and the other 2, that's what you hear.
I mean, sprint. I'm gonna rush off, looking at these tracks. Do you want a tracking roll?
Yeah, give me a tracking roll. Why not? And the other 2, what do you do when you hear this?
I turn to Reverend Peregrine and I say, I think our Scotch Dr. Henry is probably about to fall off the cliff.
Yes, I
mean, I've not failed a sanity check, guys.
Well, no, you may as well have done. I say, yes, I suppose we should go after him. But first I turn and I look at the window that was being hammered on to see whether it has got a blood stain on it.
Yeah. You're looking directly at the window, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a wide sort of spatter of blood and sort of imprinted marks. There's bits of matter. It definitely looks like something has either been punching at or headbutting at the glass.
A headbutt, okay. I'd like to take a closer look at that if I can.
Yeah, please.
To try and... I mean, I don't know what...
From this side, or are you going outside to look?
I think I'll go outside.
Great. So the fog's rolled back quite a bit,
yeah.
As I said to Joseph, so you can see a lot further than you could before.
So I draw my little pocket knife, cautiously make my way out of the house and make my way round to the window.
Yeah.
To see what I can see from the outside.
Almost immediately, going round the side of the house to the window, you nearly trip over a dead hare.
Oh.
It's big. Bigger than a cat. It's almost the size of a dog. Hares are big.
Yeah.
When you see them up close.
Yeah.
And its face seems damaged, flattened.
Like sort of smashed up as if it was hitting it against the window.
Yeah, it does. It does indeed.
Well, if I'm still in the house, in the cottage, I shout through the cottage, Reverend Blackwell, if you are in here, you can show yourself now. The worst is over, I think.
No answer.
So be it. And I stride out the back door to try and find Dr. Carrigmere.
I've failed my tracking test, but I shouldn't push it because it's so rubbish. But I was so close, but it's just a little bit too many luck. So I've failed my track. So I think I'm losing the track.
You hope you're losing the track.
Well, that's fine.
Well, yeah, that's true. Well, I'm not insane. It was just a fumble.
That's true.
So you find yourself at the gate to the churchyard, and now that the fog's rolled back, the other 2 of you can see Dr. Carrigmere just sort of stood there outside of the wall, maybe looking slightly lost, sort of turning in little concentric circles, staring down at the earth, and then over to the trees, and then back again.
Henry, what are you looking at?
I swear I saw tracks. Wheat tracks on the grass. What did you...
Might they have been hare footprints? I found a very sad-looking dead hare outside the window. I can only assume the fog drove it to some sort of crazed state.
Could it have been a hare?
But the tracks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm asking the keeper of the Whitby Bay fossil record.
The tracks you were following?
Yeah, the tracks I was looking at. Too big.
Yeah, they're not hares. They're not hares.
No.
And now that the fog's rolled back, you can see they seem to be sort of leading back towards the way you came, towards the guest house.
Well, maybe it was the boy.
And as you say that, you get a vision of a lonely boy, a friendless child, traipsing across the windswept moors towards a house, a tiny figure, heading towards a house that's supposed to be called home, but may not feel like it. And I think it pulls at you. Maybe there's a mirroring of experience there somewhere from childhood, I don't know. But yeah. And then you're all there by the gate to the churchyard. You realise it's still relatively light. It's late in the afternoon, but it was the mist had sort of constrained everything to a certain extent. You realise there's still time. You could go sunbathing down at Boggle Hole. You could go and get a train back to Whitby. The world's your oyster.
Just to cast my mind back, because when I was in the Boggle Hole guest house, I did see the photographs of the family before I knew the makeup of the family, before I knew it was the son who's allegedly dead.
Yes.
Do you want to remember roughly how old he looked in those pictures?
Yeah, he looked about 25.
Okay, good. As long as he wasn't 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Have we been dealing with a ghost this whole time?
I'd have slapped him harder if it was a ghost.
Well, exactly.
Straight through.
I'll knock the ectoplasm out of him.
So there you are, and you're by the gate.
Well, of course, sometimes when the har rolls in, it's difficult to say what's up, what's down. You might have fallen foul of the oldest trick in the coastal book.
Well,
the fog might have baffled us, but I don't know.
Should we make our way back to the guest house? After all our possessions are there, but I feel that probably commits us to staying there tonight.
And I feel like a singular bafflement I'd accept, but 3, 4, 5 as such as we've experienced, something awful is afoot here.
Yes.
And also perhaps worth remembering that until now, I mean, last night and before, Lady Biamia has been so focused on the fact that Robert was in that top room at the front of the house.
I still am.
And the one that's locked, and the one that you've heard shuffling from, and you've seen these sort of confusing, conflicting images through the keyhole. There's something going on there, and after all, that is why you're here, to find Robert, wherever he may be.
They drugged us. I think they must have drugged us.
He must have done.
I say we go into that house, we go and get Miley Enfield, say we're going to be doing some shooting while we've still got the light, and then we turn on them and we say, we know you've got Robert in the front room, we want him back, otherwise we're going to take matters into our own hands. If we take them by surprise, I think we'll have the advantage, and then it doesn't matter if they're offended, because we won't need to stay there tonight, because if we get Robert back we can just leave.
I'm in agreement with you if we could go down to Boggle Hole first.
That's what I'm on about. Oh, you mean to visit the actual Boggle Hole?
Though you may not be able to do that.
Yes, all right then. I think probably arming ourselves with knowledge is probably the best course.
If we've an hour to go before the sun goes down, and now this fog, the har is lifting.
Because there is every possibility, just to prove that I do occasionally see the good in people, there is the possibility that he had a fever or an accident or something, and he's having a fit, and they have tied him to the bed and they are actually helping him. But I suspect not.
There's also, of course, a possibility that he went down to see the fossils, a fog rolled in, and he slipped and fell and cracked his head, and his poor man is lying there at the foot of the cliff. So maybe it is worth a quick look down there first.
I suppose that's true.
It would almost be better than whatever the significance of him being dressed up as a scarecrow and tied to a bed is.
Well, quite. As you leave the churchyard, if that's what you're doing, you do see the track laid out before you, the sort of goat's track with a few muddy footprints on it, some of which you yourselves left on the way here. And as you begin your trudge, could you do me a spot hidden?
Oh, aye.
Yeah, that's a hard success from me.
Another fail.
Regular success.
Not a fumble.
So, Dr. Henry, you just feel you need to get back to the coast. You need to get near the cliffs. Whether it's to go down to Boggle Hole, find some of those fossils, explore what Robert had been exploring, or get back to the guest house itself and, figure out what's happening with their son, what's happening with that figure in the top room. Being out here in the wilderness, it's not useful, it's not productive, it's not doing anything for you. And Lady Marjorie, was that a hard success?
I was regular. Fresh air will do that too.
I was hard.
So, Lady Helen, as you cross the threshold of the church grounds, you notice something. You see a pile of worms, sort of half worms, sort of slivers and bits, where this child had clearly been cutting them in half and throwing them over the church wall onto the moors. That's sort of a pile of like a miniature charnel yard of invertebrates. And you look away quite quickly because it's a bit distasteful. It's a bit vulgar. I mean, who does that?
Big boobs, he called me.
Vulgar pagan children. Big boobs, he called you. Unbelievable. And as you all march out across the moor, Reverend Peregrine at the rear, you see the same thing. And your initial reaction is slight disgust, naturally. But as you glance back, you can't help but look closer. And as you do, you see what looks like you're not sure what it looks like initially, but it looks like some sort of forked thing wriggling amongst a mass of severed ends. Something moving.
Horrible.
You stop and bend down briefly as you walk, and you what you see is a three-pronged worm wriggling in the mud, wriggling in the filth, and it looks like it shouldn't be there. It looks like this thing with half a body and three or more protruding heads. It looks filthy. It looks like it shouldn't be there.
An abomination?
It looks like an abomination. That's the word. And as you avert your eyes in disgust, and as you all begin your long walk back towards the guest house across the moors, you think you might hear that owl's cry again somewhere far off, but not too far off. Somewhere towards the horizon. And as you make your way back towards the setting sun and the Boggle Hole guest house, you focus on the sun, on the cliffs, and on your purpose to find Robert Thompson.